All right, today we're going to decode a really powerful idea, how you can systematically turn a thought into a reality. Now, we're not talking about just wishful thinking here. We're talking about installing a completely new operating system for your mind, one that's designed for deliberate, conscious creation. Let's dive in. It's a huge question, isn't it? For a lot of people, it sounds like something straight out of a self-help book, kind of fluffy, a little abstract. But what if there was a precise mechanism behind it all? An actual engineered process that works with the hardware you were born with, your brain. That's exactly the mechanism we're going to unpack today. So this really gets to the heart of it, the huge difference between being a dreamer and being a builder. A dreamer, well, they hope and they wish. They kind of wait for some magical spark to show up. But a builder installs a system. They don't wait for reality to happen to them, they engineer the reality they want. And this explainer, this is for the builders. Okay, so let's get into the engine room. This is the core formula. It's a 6-step process that acts like a blueprint for turning an idea that's just in your head into a real result out in the physical world. And look, this isn't some metaphor, it's a mechanism. So here they are, the 6 steps in order. Power words, thoughts, intention, consciousness, knowledge, and finally, action. Each step perfectly builds on the one before it. Kind of like a cascade of dominoes, moving from something that's purely mental into something tangible and real. So let's break down exactly how each one works. First up, power words. So think about words like build, execute, or focus. These aren't just sounds you make, they're commands. When you use them with real purpose, they act like little software programs that activate goal-oriented circuits in your brain and start encoding the patterns you actually want to see in the world. Next up, thoughts. And here's the thing you have to get about thoughts. They aren't just random clouds floating by. They are vectors, meaning they have both direction and magnitude. An intentional thought literally tells your brain what to pay attention to and what to ignore. A master creator doesn't have more thoughts, they just have more deliberate thoughts chosen carefully, like a sculptor choosing a very specific chisel for the job. And this is what leads us to intention, which is where a simple thought becomes a focused, powerful decision. A real intention has 3 key parts. First, you need clarity. You have to know exactly what you want. Second is emotion. You have to actually connect a feeling to that outcome. And third, commitment. You have to start moving toward it. Now, once you have that clear intention set, your very consciousness begins to shift. You literally start to see the world through the lens of that goal, noticing opportunities and resources you were totally blind to before. And this new awareness naturally pushes you to seek out specific knowledge, the how-to, the strategies, the info you need to build effectively. And once you're armed with that new awareness and all that new knowledge, you get to the final, absolutely critical step, action. See, all the other steps, they create the blueprint, the energy, and the strategy. But action is what makes it real. It is the physical bridge that connects the invisible world of your mind to the visible world of results.
So that formula makes sense logically, right? But what's actually happening inside your head while all this is going on? Because this isn't pseudoscience. So let's pivot to the neuroscience and see how your brain's hardware is perfectly designed to run this exact process.
Now this is what's so cool. Look at how cleanly each one of those steps maps to a core brain function. Those power words, they engage your amygdala, your brain's emotional core, which makes the goal feel important. Your focused thoughts then direct your reticular activating system, which is like a spotlight, filtering your attention so you only notice what's relevant to your goal. And your intention? That fires up the prefrontal cortex, your brain's CEO, and releases dopamine, which makes the whole process feel rewarding and worth doing. It's just a beautiful, elegant, integrated system. And this just brilliantly illustrates the core principle that's running this whole show, neuroplasticity. You know, the famous saying in neuroscience is, neurons that fire together wire together. And all that really means is that by repeatedly focusing your thoughts and your actions, you are physically changing your brain structure. You're making those goal-oriented pathways stronger and more automatic every single time. Okay, so that's the theory. But how do you actually apply it? Let's get super practical. This is the 12-minute Genius Protocol, a dead simple daily routine that basically compresses that entire 6-step formula into a few executable steps you can start doing tomorrow morning. Here's how it breaks down. You start with just 2 minutes of speaking your power words out loud to get your brain activated. Then, you spend 6 minutes scripting a crystal clear intention for your day, really feeling it like it's already happened. Next, just 1 minute. 1 minute to inject a key piece of knowledge or a new strategy. And you finish with 2 minutes to commit to one tiny, physical micro-action that proves your intention is real. That's it. 12 minutes to run the entire system.
Now, if you want to go from great to elite, there's one more layer we need to add. This is the upgrade. This is what separates the consistent builders from the occasional dreamers. It's really the secret weapon for continuous improvement.
And that weapon is the feedback loop. So why is this so critical? Well, because without feedback, even the best intention can just degrade into fantasy. A feedback loop keeps you grounded in what's actually happening, letting you measure what's working, what isn't, and correct your course in real time.
So here's how the protocol evolves. Instead of just setting an intention, you add a metric to it, something you can measure. Instead of only visualizing success, you also visualize yourself solving the inevitable friction and problems you're going to face. And most importantly, you add a 2-minute review at the end of the day to analyze what happened and adjust for tomorrow.
And when you do this, you transform the entire system. You're not just trying to manifest something anymore. You are now actively engaged in self-directed evolution. And the pillars become crystal clear. Execute your plan, measure your results, and correct your approach. It becomes a dynamic, intelligent process.
So let's reframe this one last time to be super clear. You are not magically manifesting reality. You're doing something much more real and much more powerful. You are actively training your perception, you're directing your attention, you're reinforcing specific behaviors, you're updating the internal models in your brain, and you are executing in the real world. You do that consistently, and reality has no choice but to shift, because you did.
And that brings us right to the end. The operating system is right there on the screen, the science is clear, and the daily protocol is in your hands. So really, the only question left is, what will you build first?